As a family, we all love gin. We've always loved gin. We like that creative aspect of it. As a family, we've always been very creative. You know, I've worked more in the corporate world and in particular in the finance world most of my career. A little more than 2 years ago, I was looking for a bit of a career change, something I could sink my teeth into and really sort of make and build and mold. And it was really visiting my daughter who was living in England at the time and seeing the gin culture there.
I decided in 2008 to move to the UK for my university. And at the times, they were starting to get into this sort of craft gin movement in the UK. When my dad came to visit or when my brothers would come to visit, I would sort of create these schedules where we'd go around and visit as many distilleries as possible.
Here in Canada, you don't get that selection, you don't have that. And seeing that, it was like, you know, this is something we gotta do here. It's gonna take off here. Can we do it was the big question mark. You know, we're willing to sort of put our hearts and souls into it to make it happen.
As soon as it was okay, this is the idea going forward, it became pretty much all hands on deck. My brother left his job and came over full time. I did the same. And then of course my sister moved back from the UK.
It was difficult to be living in London and hearing about them sort of building this craft gin distillery without me. And it was definitely an easy decision for me to come back. Being able to do this is a sort of once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to build a business with my family.
For me, it was, I want to make sure that in my lifetime I'm creating something that's very unique and appreciated. I didn't anticipate it being like this, to be honest with you. If I thought back, 10 years ago, do I think this is what I would have been envisioning? Probably not.
So we set up the company, we were working out of the dining room table for quite a while, and then it was this search for space. We spent about 6 months looking before we found this.
The building itself is an old lighting factory, and it used to produce trucks for, I think, Labatt's and stuff in the 1920s. It was an empty canvas. We walked around as a family, and we looked around at all the corners, and we thought about all we could do. We wanted the space to be able to operate with as few people as possible, and as efficiently as possible, too.
Whether it's tiling the floors, painting the walls, building the bar, installing the equipment, changing the lighting, we built this place from the ground up, the four of us, and with a lot of help, mind you, putting in 15-hour days, 7 days a week for a long time to get the space to where it was.
I think it took us about 6 months to develop our primary recipe. We would come in and that one day would be grapefruit day, and there would be 25 different samples of different strengths of grapefruit that we would play around with. And so it was certainly labor intensive, but it was a blast. And really the cocktail world is our oyster with gin as our base.
I love the gin that we've been able to produce. It took a lot of tasting, but we landed on a gin that I really like. Since we've opened our doors, it's been amazing, the response we have had from the community, from people who've been waiting for us to open, people who had no idea who we were until the day we opened.
For me, when I see customers come in and their first reaction is, wow, what a beautiful space, that brings me quite a lot of joy. And then when they start to enjoy the product and they go, wow, this is really good gin, is to me the most satisfying thing.
I think when we first started, I tried to sort of remove the family aspect out and very much just treat it as a normal business. And I think it was only a couple of months before I realized that not only could you not do it, but there was real value in recognizing that it was a huge part of what we were doing. It definitely helps that at the end of the day, we all have incredible passion and we all have the same goal for this place and the same love for this place. So it's easy when we're all sort of speaking that same language.
We've really created the vision that we had 2 years ago when we started this venture. Laying tile, painting, doing a gin recipe, bottling, whatever it is, you're doing everything and you're involved in every aspect. And I love that part of it. And as I say, in particular with your kids, it doesn't get any better than that.